There's some new developments on the investigation of a powdery white substance found at the White House on Sunday. According to the Washington Post, the small bag was in fact cocaine located on the ground floor where guests touring the West Wing are told to leave their cell phones.
In a press briefing on Wednesday, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters the Secret Service is continuing to investigate the matter and the person or persons behind this remain at large. Let's listen.
Where this was discovered is a heavily traveled area where many White House, West Wing, I should be even more specific, West Wing visitors come through this particular area. I just don't have anything more to share. It is under investigation by the Secret Service. This is in their purview, and so we're going to allow certainly the investigation to continue, and we have confidence that the Secret Service will get to the bottom of this.
Meanwhile, an official familiar with the investigation told Politico that the likelihood of the White House catching the cocaine culprit is not very high.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah, so look,
if it's a guest, what are they going to do?
Sure. If it is an area where outside visitors, of which there are many at the White House every day, are trafficking through and are asked to put down their belongings while they're being checked or what have you, this is a non-issue. It is a little difficult for me to imagine, and I would love to hear more details from the White House about what this room is, what exactly is the scenario, because white powder was identified. Remember, first white powder was identified, and subsequently it was tested and found to be cocaine. So this is not a trace amount. This is an observable amount of cocaine that ended up in this area.
I assume it was in a baggie type situation. It's not like they dusted the area for powder.
Well, I don't know.
I thought they found it in a bag.
Okay, sorry. Even if it's in a bag, even more so. This
That's
is
what
a
I'm
lot.
picturing in my head. Maybe I made that. I'm filling in the details.
It's just a lot. So, I mean, again, the fact that it's in a public area for many, many reasons, I think, kills the speculation that it was Hunter Biden. We believe that Hunter Biden was in the public part of the White House doing cocaine.
Which, again, was only speculation because he is known to have struggled in
with
the
addiction.
past. Right.
But this hasn't stopped, I think, a lot of conservative speculation.
Wasn't he known to use crack cocaine? Not.
I don't know. I don't know if one's habits are so specific that they don't diversify depending on what's available, et cetera. But her body language in that is very interesting because this does seem like a slam dunk of obviously this has nothing to do with the Bidens. This is specious slander. This is people wanting to just get a punch in at a candidate that they don't support. But she didn't come off that way.
I mean, they don't want the association. It's a shame they didn't find it in the Rose Garden. They could have blamed a journalist. A reporter left it behind.
I mean, so what do you make? I saw a number of conservatives continuing to double down after this, saying, there's all of this evidence that Hunter Biden has been behaving.
Are they actually? Conservatives are actually saying that?
Oh, you're saying that maybe it's another one of these fake accounts?
I haven't seen. I've seen jokes about it. I haven't seen a lot of. But I could be wrong. Maybe I've missed it.
No, I saw.
There's serious suggestions.
I saw one video going around in particular of the Bidens on the balcony area in the front of the White House, and Hunter Biden kind of walks behind Jill Biden, and you see him. He's behind her, but you see him kind of bring his hands to his face and then walk off behind her, going like this. And so everyone, it's just what this moment has done is given people an opportunity to, I think, remind people of Hunter Biden's kind of personal struggles, even if it isn't linked directly to this discovery in the White House.
Which, again, are his personal struggle. A lot of people struggle with drug addiction, and it should be treated as a medical issue, not a criminal issue. The reason it's important with Hunter is that it's part of a pattern of, we're worried about potential double standards in how he's been treated by the criminal justice system, given his famous father, whether he got a much more lenient deal. Everyone would be entitled to this leniency, not just him, and whether that leniency was in fact because they didn't want to look the authorities didn't want to look more closely at legal matters involving him because it would point to a broader history of financial impropriety or that roped in his attempt to rope his father in to whatever influence game he was playing with the Chinese, the Ukrainians, Burisma, et cetera.
I also do think it is, I might have expected that trafficked areas of the White House in particular were under constant security camera surveillance. So it's not that whoever is responsible needs to have their face smeared across the news, but the idea that it's impossible to figure out who it was, if it was in fact a baggie that was dropped during a security check, is a little confusing as well, I think.
Yeah, I would think, unless it was, right.
If it were powder, if it were just traces that kind of fell out of somebody's bag.
If it were like, what do you mean? Like,
but if it was a bag,
of powder don't collect in such number. I'm having a hard time imagining powder collecting in such a way with absent a baggie or some kind of vessel that it gets noticed.
I recently watched a series on Netflix called Halston about a designer who was very big in the 80s, 90s, who was famously, a party boy in the studios, 54 or whatever. And in one of the scenes, as he's struggling with addiction toward the end of his life, his phone stops working, his landline stops working. And when the repairman comes, he screws off the end of the telephone and the whole receiver is just filled with cocaine. And they realize that over the years, he's been doing cocaine while on the phone, and little bits have been falling in. So when they unscrew it, like a whole mound of powder falls out onto the table. And it's a kind of a wake-up call moment of, maybe I need to get this under control.
It's still in a collected...
And this isn't science. This isn't a historical record or anything. It's just a TV show. But, I understand. It seems to me that if you're a heavy user, there's apparently trace amounts of cocaine on every dollar in America. All of these kinds of statistics about how you can find trace elements of stuff all over the place.
Because people used to make dollars with cocaine, or because people use it
people use it to snort cocaine, Robby.
I can't believe that. At such levels that every dollar and
I'm not being literal here, but it's very common, or at least it was at a certain point very common, to find trace amounts of cocaine on dollars for that reason. Probably in the Halston era, that was true. To me, it seemed like I can understand why it would be difficult to trace if it really were just trace amounts. If it were a baggie, presumably that fell out and was identified somewhere, I'd be curious to see if that were caught on any kind of camera, and if not, what exactly is going on from a security perspective in these public visitor areas of the White House.
As I said, the security people miss stuff all the time at this is airport-style security. Airport-style security misses stuff. Prison security misses stuff. People smuggle things in and out of prisons. It happens. Again, it's not... I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one thinking this. It's not like the biggest deal ever. It's not a weapon. It's not a pathogen. It's a drug that I don't even think should be illegal.
It's not the biggest deal.
I guess you don't have any business bringing it into the White House, but
if you just,
I don't think I wouldn't care.
If you really do think it should be legal, then it's akin to bringing a pack of cigarettes to the White House. You're going to use it at some point during the day. Why wouldn't you have it on your person?
Sure.
Just FYI, most banknotes have traces of cocaine on them. This has been confirmed by studies done in several countries. In 1994, the U.S. Ninth Circuit of Appeals determined that in Los Angeles, out of every 4 banknotes, on average, more than 3 are tainted by cocaine or another illicit drug.
That is wild to me. I would just think new money is entering circulation rapidly enough, but maybe not.
I think people like to use the new bills in particular.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Who knows?
We're two Pollyannas. What do we know?
Tell us in the comments if you have any special knowledge of this kind of thing. More Rising right after this.